prettier than Helen of Troy, more caring than a mother hen, and dressed like a Barbie doll. She can also fly, lift really heavy stuff, and is nigh invulnerable. Yes, it's Aurora! Upon arrival, she found that she had amazing powers, the likes of which the world had never seen. Exiled to this world from our neighbor Venus, Aurora! Who, cleverly disguised as a mild-mannered ace reporter and forensic scientist for New Polis City, Val Valentine, fights an all-encompassing battle against threats to life, liberty, and justice to promote the American way. Aurora! An inspiration to all, loved by millions. The deeds of the true American hero ring true from sea to shining sea. And now, another exciting episode of PH1's Behind the Mask. It was the spring of 1954, and the world was still reeling from the events of the Korean War. But for some in rural Virginia, there were other problems.
There was this bright flash of light and this crash. I was, oh my gosh. My first thought was, it's a bomb. The commies finally went and did it. So I sat in the truck for a minute and kind of waited to see what was going to happen. And then I took a little liquid courage from John's flask, and I went into that field. And there I found this beautiful 13-year-old girl. So I picked her up and I took her home with me.
Just pretty much immediately adopted me. She just took me to her house, started cooking food for me, and I was hers, like that quickly. She said she would help me out. She knew like all the right people to talk to. She's a really amazing woman.
I knew this guy down at the Social Security office. He and I used to have a little thing, back in high school, sock hops and whatnot. But I just went down there, little sweet talk, and that was it.
And I had this feeling of separation from everyone else, but then my powers kicked in.
Well, I knew that day that I had hit the jackpot. She could do all my chores in half the time I could, and I'd never have to work again. That was a great day.
Learning about the land she was now living in from television, radio, and other cultural sources, young Valerie was thirsty for more knowledge.
I had to beg and beg her to go to school, because if I was going to fit in with people on Earth, that would be the place to start. And eventually I won her over.
Once attending high school, she was able to keep up with special bargains she had with her mother, as well as a few extracurricular activities.
Well, I was head cheerleader. I was a reporter for the school newspaper, and I was homecoming queen twice, I believe. And I really liked high school. I didn't really seem to fit in. I guess I was just kind of an awkward person.
Constantly fading into the background in high school, Valerie still sought acceptance.
I moved out of the farmhouse and into an apartment in New Polis City and began my life as Val Valentine's star reporter.
It wasn't long before circumstances forced her into a costume and to hide her identity.
It seemed pretty easy back then. It was just the occasional bad guy, mugger, bank robber, litterbug. But I was really busy. Like, even with super speed, I had trouble making sure my makeup and hair was done all at the same time.
From then on, her life was a whirlwind of action and adventure that pushed the criminal underworld to the breaking point.
I was on the way back from the studio when I saw this man being mugged. So I stopped it, and that's when I met Devil Fist.
She was lacking in the department of fisticuffs, and not to mention her witty banter could use a lot of improvement. I mean, my witty banter compared to Shakespeare's. As Shakespeare always said, witty banter beeth the words in which the soul flows.
He trained me to fight, and he taught me how to use strategy and how to, accessorize properly. Honestly, I don't think Aurora would have ever been born without the genius of Devil Fist.
My powers are that I'm just in peak physical condition. Want to see me do a backflip? Want to see me do it again? It's pretty great. You probably have to slow down the frames to see it. Because I was a vagabond and traveled from dojo to dojo as a kid, I mastered every single form of martial arts and self-defense. Taekwondo, I know it. Krav Maga, favorite one. Karate, yeah, Kia and all that. Nothing goes over my head. Nothing gets behind me. No bullet could shoot me, because I'd catch it.
What he didn't teach me, though, was how to make money, so I had to get another job.
Feeling the hardships of living in the city, Aurora, as Valerie, sought another job. She found it through the city as the medical examiner's assistant.
Well, that's actually where I met Doc Devious. Of course, at the time, he was Dr. Waldo Webster. And he was really great at first. We had a really good time.
It's Doc Devious. I didn't spend 3 years at Yale to be called Mr. Webster. I became a mortician because I was interested in how things ended.
I didn't mean to, but I broke his heart. I wasn't ready for the commitment that he wanted.
I thought it would be romantic to remove a ring from one of our bodies and propose.
To be honest, it's not really romantic to pull a ring out of a dead body. He didn't even put it there, like the lady choked on it and he just seized the opportunity.
She responded unfavorably.
That rejection would lead to problems for Aurora in the future.
So, I devoted my time and energy making her regret ever denying me what was mine.
Up to this point, I had only taken down like 2-bit criminals. And my first meeting with Doc Devious, I had to take down a gorilla with a robot brain.
Genetically altering several species to create henchmen that wouldn't leave.
Her time in New Polis City and her defeat of Doc Devious defined a new era not only for Aurora, but also the world. Aurora and Devil Fist set about gathering teammates. In this search, they found Pitch, Shatter, and TK.
We needed to build a team. We needed to form a task force, one whose job was to keep the general populace safer from, I guess, the darker sides.
Devil Fist actually contacted me asking for help.
It's actually weird. I did go to school with her, but we never really saw each other until our senior year.
TK? Yeah, he got pantsed senior year. How do you sneak up on a guy with telekinesis?
Telepathy is reading minds. I can just move things.
I am a prince from the esteemed underground city of Mantelantis, which, is housed deep beneath the Appalachian Mountains. And I was initially sent here on a quest to destroy the Outsiders, but after a decisive loss to Aurora, I decided to stay in America, I love America, it's great.
I'm all for, affirmative action and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's just, do we need an alien? He lives in Mantelantis, for God's sake. Like, what? That's not Earth. That's no Earth I've ever heard of. Aurora's an alien?
I don't really have any powers. I've got this, which is a really handy mining tool my people developed to move rocks. So basically, I can pick up any rock, and it doesn't weigh a thing, and I can move it as quickly as I want to. So that's become really, a handy tool to have up here, fighting topsiders. And it turns out humans are just like a lot weaker than my species is, so my skin's just a little bit thicker than everyone else's, so I can take a few more hits. The gravity down there is a little bit more intense, so I was raised to be a lot stronger, which turns out to be really handy.
Yeah, I mean, I punched her right in the face, and I felt really bad about it immediately.
And that's when I called everybody to the task hole.
The deal was kicking ass and taking names, so...
They had formed Task Force, but TK wasn't the only blast from Aurora's past to pop up. Another classmate returned in the form of a villain.
I hated that bitch. She took everything from me. It was my spot on the cheer squad, my lead in the musical, and my boyfriend she went to homecoming with. She just came prancing into my school and took everything from me.
Now that we're talking about it, I think that, I think that tapping about, did used to fight over me.
That little creep said what?
She came to me. She knew about my experiments. I merged her human DNA with that of a cheetah.
Well, I wanted it to be painless, but apparently that wasn't possible. Felt like there was fire in my skin.
I may have altered the experiment to be a bit more painful than she anticipated.
And when I woke up, I had my claws, my ears, my senses were crazy. I could smell everything. Night vision? Quite useful.
My high school nemesis suddenly became my superhero nemesis.
The portal was to suck New Polis into another dimension forever.
Wait, what? Son of a bitch! bitch!
The defeat of this evil team-up had solidified the team and launched them into the eyes of the adoring public. However, things did not remain happy for long.
At first, it was only a secret because the general populace probably wasn't ready for this kind of rumor.
We were friends at first, and we were like best friends. We were really close. And then from there, we just kind of discovered we both had feelings for one another. Really, it was weird. I'd never been attracted to a girl the way I was attracted to Shatter. It was honestly really kind of confusing. Well, dating Shatter was a lot of fun. I mean, her power is to vibrate.
I mean, we have unions like this all the time underground, you know, it's just rocks down there. I don't really understand all the secrecy.
I'm not jealous, all right? That is one of the most ridiculous notions. Look, it's not even fair, man. The chick's power is vibration. Come on.
You know, the best thing about their relationship? They both come back and do my chores for me so I can watch my soaps.
We spent so much time together, and I think that's really where our problem was. 'Cause looking back, that really drove us apart. I mean, what happens when you date anyone and it doesn't work out? Like, we had a lot of fun together, and I really loved her. Yeah, of course I still love her. I'm always gonna love her. She's always gonna have a special place in my heart.
It wasn't just Aurora and Shatter that were drifting apart. The whole team was in dire straits.
You know, Aurora tried to shift the attention back to the rest of us, but I guess that just didn't happen.
Alright, see, that's what bugs me. Why the hell did she get all the attention? I mean, this country's great. Great. You guys have Burger King, Sonic, you can drive through and get cheeseburgers, but the only way you're famous in this country is on Instagram.
I just think the team needs more credit. I mean, yes, Aurora's great, and yes, everybody's doing their part. It's not Aurora and her band of willy-nilly superheroes. It's the task force. We have a base. We have the task hole. We have all these things that make us a team, but people just seem to forget that.
Well, I didn't hate the attention by any means, but they didn't have to start acting like children.
The infighting and jealousy were too much for even superheroes to overcome, leaving many to wonder about their place in this world.
It's become about like this whole other thing, and it's kind of done, you know? There's a lot of opportunity in this country. I don't need to be tied down.
I just couldn't take it anymore. We were just done.
Yeah, we were done. The band had broken up.
At the end of our days, it just seemed it's time for the sun to gently set on Task Force.
Not long after the breakup, pictures of her were released.
Okay, well, honestly, I have a fantastic body. But the problem here is that it's not for everyone to see. I mean, everyone has these things that they only show to certain people, so it was just an invasion of privacy. Plain and simple.
I had nothing to do with any of this. What? No, yeah, totally did.
Those stupid girls have no one to blame but themselves. They want to act like hookers, then they're going to be treated like hookers. What? I'm gonna kill a motherfucker. No one does this to Pussycat. When I get my claws on them.
Undaunted by the scandal, Aurora continued to fight crime just as before, if not with a few changes.
It was probably my 4th or 5th death. So after that, I decided to change my costume and let my secret identity stay missing.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan. Especially because now she's giving me the time of day.
Well, you know, she's a good girl. Well, she don't have to go wearing that shades of gray stuff. It's a little too SNL for me.
Well, I'm not Aurora anymore. And I don't know, maybe I never was. I like being Nyx. I feel more empowered, and I don't give a shit what people say.
In order for the world to continue spinning on its great axis, we need people to make those ultimate sacrifices.
Well, regardless of public opinion, we know our jobs and we know our duty.
Time marches on. Our heroes must continually strive to not only live their own lives, but to make it possible to live our own.
Aurora! 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 Aurora!
Yes?
Now that you defeated Doc Devious and the Pussycat, Aurora, what's in the future for you and Task Force?
Well, whatever we do, it's gonna be fun.
But it seems to be that you're not